Welcome back to RBP. It is once again me, Ross Bolen, here with Jared Borislow, as always. J-Bone!
J-Bone!
Dude, I saw a trailer for what looks like our next movie breakdown. So on episode 119 of this show, this is like 456, I think. 455, 456, somewhere in there. Episode 119, we broke down the classic Jason Statham 2006 film, Crank, which came up in our episode earlier this week. Then on episode 165, we broke down Sly Sylvester Stallone's 1987 classic, Over the Top, two of the inarguably funniest episodes of this podcast that have ever been produced. In 2022, we may have to do Netflix's upcoming Kevin James film titled Home Team. Jared, if you had no fucking clue in the world and you just had to take a stab at it, Kevin James, Netflix, Home Team, what does that look like to you? What in terms of a plot?
It would be like Paul Blart Mall Cop, except on like a high school football team. So I'd think like, oh, this down and out guy,
right? Kevin James
trying to turn his life around by trying to lead a group of funny teams.
Mighty Ducks-esque.
Yeah, exactly.
Football movie starring Kevin James. That seems like an obvious move. Sure.
A fiction.
Sure. Absolutely. Now, what you wouldn't guess, I'll just read you the IMDb's description here. The story about New Orleans Saints head coach Sean Payton coaching his son's 6th grade football team when Payton was suspended for the entire 2012 season as a result of his role in the Saints' Bountygate scandal. So essentially, somebody walked into the Netflix studios and was like, "We've got your next inspiring film. Do you remember when Saints coach Sean Payton was suspended because he allowed his team to put bounties on opposing players attempting to injure them? He was suspended for an entire season for trying to take the heads off opponents on the football field, for allowing this entire system, this bounty system, to be put in and installed underneath him as Saints head coach for the New Orleans Saints. And it was a huge, huge deal, right? Massive scandal in the sports world, not just the NFL. And they saw that as an opportunity to create a Kevin James feel-good sports movie. I mean, Sean Payton, that's a permanent black mark on his resume, on his record, right?
From what I understand, obviously the head coach, the buck always stops with the head coach.
Of course.
I believe it was actually Greg Williams,
who was the head of the bounty program,
the defensive coordinator, who later became like one of the famous guys on Hard Knocks when he was on the Cleveland Browns, and everybody's like, "Oh, Greg Williams, he's really funny." And then people are like, "Wait
a minute, isn't that the
bounty
guy?
cake guy?"
Yeah, we're quick to forget, it turns out, which is why Netflix is able to turn a quick buck off of another Kevin James hit. It gets even weirder from here, though. I'm not done. Co-starring as the head coach of his son's 6th grade team, Sean Payton comes in and becomes the offensive coordinator. You know, he just wants to help out, Jared. Mm-hmm. He's filthy fucking rich and he can't go to work. So he's got to help his 6th grade son's football team. Guess who the head coach is? Taylor Lautner.
A.K.A. Twilight Werewolf.
Abs guy.
Also, Shark Boy from Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
True. Weird pick. He looks different. He's added some healthy weight, I would note. Mm-hmm. He looks more like a normal human and less like a,
Adonis.
Ken doll.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is good for him.
I feel really like the main takeaway I had from this, aside from how bizarre it is, like you said, that you'd make a feel-good story about a disgraced coach, is I feel bad for Sean Payton.
Yeah, he didn't need this story to recirculate, I feel like.
That's not why I feel bad for him.
Why do you feel bad?
Nobody wants Kevin James to play them in a freaking
It's
movie.
not a great casting job.
Kevin James? He looks nothing like Sean Payton.
It is the equivalent to them doing a movie about my divorce and having that hefty talk show host who, what's my fat name?
Ron Bowler? Wait,
no, that's my
Bill
stoned
Chungus.
Name. Bill Chungus. Bill Chungus looks like one of the late night talk show hosts named James Corden.
Oh.
And if they cast James Corden from Cats / his late night show to play me in a movie about my divorce, that's how I imagine Sean Payton feels right now. Like, it's not great.
There's people who look a lot more like Sean Payton. And also, I must note, who's asking for Kevin James movies?
Maybe he's got incredible acting chops. Like, what's the best Kevin James movie you've ever seen? We all know he was great on King of Queens. Phenomenal little sitcom. But films-wise, you named Paul Blart Mall Cop. I mean, that is an all-time dumbass movie.
Yeah.
It made like 300 mil or something. I think they made a sequel. But this isn't a, I can't make sense of this project shouldn't even exist. It makes me think you and I need to take a trip to the Netflix studios as soon as fucking possible and just start pitching them on ideas, because as if this couldn't get any stranger, Rob Schneider is a stapler. No, he's in this movie too. Rob Schneider is in Home Team.
I didn't think he was contractually allowed to be in any movies that Adam Sandler wasn't the star
This
of.
is somehow not a Happy Madison film. And Rob Schneider was allowed to be in it. Rob Schneider, Kevin James, and Taylor Lautner. What? What is the lesson here?
When I saw this, I literally thought it was a SNL digital short.
That's what it looks like. Most of the people catching this trailer are going, ha, that's a funny spoof. It's real. It's on Netflix. It's coming in 2022. We are not being paid in any way, shape, or form to advertise this. It's just absurd and hilarious to me.
But that's how they're getting free advertising.
Yeah, I mean, they're geniuses. And when you have as much money as they do, it's like, fuck it. Let's get Kevin James and have him play Sean Payton. People are going to be all over this.
As I've said this on the podcast before, if you go on Reddit to the Ask Reddit, and there's ever one of the threads that is, have you ever met a celebrity that was like
a dick,
a total dick?
Yeah.
And every single one, the top comment is, yeah, Kevin James is the most full of himself, dickhead, not nice guy. You'd think he's nice because he kind of puts on like a lovable guy.
Joke?
No, it's real. Everybody who has ever, I think Kevin James is like maybe a nice guy at heart, but he got really famous, but also he probably like just is like, I'm not like good famous.
He's like, I'm playing Sean Payton in a Netflix film called Home Team.
I think Kevin James just got tired of all the... He's been famous for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I think he just got tired of it a while back and just said, fuck it, I'm not going to put on for the paparazzi and shit.
Not everybody is built for that life, Not everybody can be fucking... Who's Matthew McConaughey? I feel like he's great with the press, always in a good mood. But that is a weird element of Kevin James, that he's got this reputation online as a dickhead. I would never have guessed that.
I don't think he's also very... personally, I don't think he's very funny. I think he's like... A lot of people... I have a take that a lot of people say is bad, and I think Patton Oswalt is a really good guy, but I don't really find his comedy that funny.
Okay. He seems like he would be right up your alley, honestly.
Maybe I haven't watched enough of it.
Yeah. You mean you don't... Are you only familiar with Patton Oswalt via King of Queens?
No, I've watched some of his stand-up.
Because he does like a ton of shit too, right?
Yeah, I mean, he also might not think I'm funny. It's one of those things. Like, I'm not. It's not like a knock on somebody. Comedy is so big that
I don't think I'm funny, and lots of people do. It's objective and subjective.
I think you think you're funny.
You think whatever you think, whatever you want to think.
Bing bong.
I think you're wrong. Bing bong. But yeah, I'm gonna be breaking this down for sure. There's no way I don't watch this. There's no way they don't get my time and money. And there's no way they don't get me to advertise it even further by doing a full breakdown in 2022 at some point. Home Team, starring Kevin James as Sean Payton, being the offensive coordinator for his son's 6th grade football team, head coached by Taylor Lautner, and somehow Rob Schneider is in there. I'm going to assume he's like the equipment manager. There's not enough detail yet. I need to know the budget on this. What'd they spend here?
He's probably going to say, "You can do it," to Sean Payton's
son. Cut their fucking heads off. Except it'll be some,
Oh, what are the odds?
Revitalized role.
What are the odds that Adam Sandler makes a Waterboy cameo just because Rob Schneider is in it? That makes me think it's going to happen.
I think that alone would cost them another 20 M's to get Adam to show up for 15 minutes and shoot that. Maybe though, it's Netflix. They've been collecting money from me every month since their inception.
Now, Sean Payton certainly has to be being paid off of this, obviously.
That is one element of it that I hadn't really considered. But yeah, if you make like a biopic on someone, I'm pretty sure they have to sign off on the right. I don't know though, because if it's a public story, like that story was reported on in the newspapers, do you have to pay him to do?
Yeah. You need to buy movie rights.
Yeah, you're probably
to
right.
Stories. 'Cause any story, like technically the person owns the rights to it.
So did Sean Payton? Did a Netflix rep come to his house like ding dong, bing bong? Do you? We need to change the doorbell. Do you? And I need to put the bing bong horn in my Tesla. Do you want us to make this movie, Home Team, based on the story of what you went and did with your time during that suspension because of Bountygate, and do you mind if we mention it and sign here? And he was like, yeah, fuck it, get Kevin James.
I hope Sean Payton didn't. There's no way he did his own casting. There's plenty of actors who look a lot more like Sean Payton than Kevin James.
I'm hoping you failed to name one, but I'm hoping he doesn't even know about this and like his wife signed off on it or something, and he's just going to catch the preview like the rest of us and lose his shit like, Kevin James? Who do you think he would want to play him? Leo?
Yeah, I could see that.
He's not a bad-looking guy.
I can like picture in my head the actor who looks more like Sean Payton, but I don't know his name. It's one of those guys who's on probably on NCIS or something. You know, one of those shows where it's like, oh yeah, that's that guy. You know what? Toby Flenderson, the guy who plays Toby Flenderson, he would be a better Sean Payton than Kevin James.
I mean, I don't know how you're like...
Right?
I'm looking at the side-by-side, and it's just like, how did the casting director even attempt this? And
Sean Payton's head is 20% smaller.
And pulled this off. Like went into the producer's room, the EP room, and was like, I've got it. I've got our guy. Have you seen King of Queens? And they were immediately like, yes. Fucking Kevin James, get him.
I think Kevin James is really popular in Middle America and the Rust Belt.
Yeah, I'm quite positive he is. But he and all these dudes, like Adam Sandler, have slotted themselves into the same place where it's like, just pump out dumb shit for the masses and collect the bag from Netflix. And we need to get in on this.
Oh, we do.
I think it's time. This episode of RBP is brought to you by Cuts Clothing. Guys, work attire has changed. You don't have to wear stuffy, uncomfortable clothes anymore. Cuts Clothing has reimagined work clothes by elevating the classic t-shirt to something you can wear on any occasion, from a formal business meeting to a casual night out. Everyone loves Cuts. Elite athletes, entrepreneurs, and recording artists are all wearing what GQ magazine calls the only shirt worth wearing. Why waste time wondering what to wear for all your holiday events? Cuts has you covered so you can look your best this season and every season after. Again, they got world famous for making shirts that look as great as they feel. Best t-shirt in the game. I'm wearing Cuts tees 3 to 5 days a week currently, and now they've got incredible outerwear as well. I'm a huge fan of the new bomber jackets. If you're a bomber jacket fan, the power vest is there for those of you who desire power. The Sherpa full zip is quite baller, and we've reached the point where you could literally wear Cuts and only Cuts for your entire outfit, every layer, and you would look legitimately good. Cuts has your holiday shopping covered with a ton of new products and special site-exclusive offers every single day this month in December. Plus, get 15% off site-wide at cutsclothing.com/RBP when you go now and support the podcast and shop. That's cutsclothing.com/RBP. to get 15% off, plus can't miss daily deals. I've got a couple of insane headlines for you today. But the first of which is that listening to Drake makes you run slower.
Really?
This study says. According to Men's Health, I'm just going to read you a little paragraph here. It's no secret that the right playlist can turn a good workout into a great one. But can the same be said in reverse? Can a poorly picked track nuke what was once a promising workout sesh? If a recent study by fashion site Plamer is to be believed,
I'm sure you pronounce that
that's
correctly.
exactly how it's pronounced. It's certainly possible. In an effort to find a correlation between music and running speed, the study analyzed data from 60 runs of varying lengths where the runners were listening to a different artist each time they laced up. Now, as a runner, as a guy who runs pretty routinely, I was raised by a runner. My dad is obsessed with running. I know how important music is for your daily run. For those of you who are runners, if you've ever gone out one day and just said, you know what? I'm not going to take my headphones today. I'm going for it. I'm just going to run with nature in my ears. You know how miserable it is and how hard it can be.
I want to do that sometimes. I'll go to the Greenbelt and be like, oh, wow, there's bird sounds and the sound of
the wind in the air.
Yeah. And then 5 minutes in, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Bored out of my mind. Yeah.
I need to listen to Yo Gotti.
Right. I'm a big Eminem Till I Collapse guy to start off a run.
I don't know any Yo Gotti songs. I don't know why I said Yo Gotti.
That is a really random artist for you to have picked. Yo Gotti being your... I always pictured you as like a System of a Down runner.
What's a Yo Gotti song?
Can't name one. Don't know a single Yo Gotti track off the top. But yeah, so the result of this study showed that best-selling artist Drake, not the best choice for your running playlist. This is obvious if you're a runner and you've ever thrown on a Drake track or any of Certified Lover Boy. There's like one good running song on there. It's mostly chill. Drake is a little more low-key. This is not motivational running rap. All right? Similarly, Doja Cat, Nicki Minaj, they were found to have, they make you a little bit slower. So Toronto giga celebrity Drake's songs will increase the runner's time by 6% on average, adding up to 15 minutes to each run. So if you run and you listen to Drake, you are slowing yourself.
Okay, so you know how they play music during the game in the NBA?
Yes.
Do you think that when the home team is on defense, maybe they'll play some Drake so the other team is strategically slows them down?
Like molasses. I love that. On the flip side, Beyonce will make you run faster. Shaved an average of 2 minutes and 45 seconds off their times, equating to 33 seconds per kilometer.
I'm imagining going to an NBA game now, and it just goes right from Marvin's room into single ladies.
Over and over, every time they change possession. Marvin's room, single ladies. Marvin's room, single ladies. Marvin's room, single ladies. Cup full of rosé. I'm a single lady. I'm a single. Just back and forth the whole game. Everyone in the stadium loses their minds. That would be beautiful. Other run-boosting artists include Kanye West, Cardi B, who I imagine just makes you feel like you're running from her, and then Rihanna. But I will add, Men's Health notes, running at a slower pace does not mean your session is void. Much the opposite, in fact. Exercising at a slower, more steady rate, known in fitness circles as LISS, lower intensity steady state exercises, they have plenty of benefits. Keeping your heart rate at a consistent, sustainable pace throughout your workout will give you endurance, promote better blood flow, you'll be able to recover quicker, plus you won't be sweating for another half an hour once you finish running. So, my go-to running music is pretty, I guess, obvious for me. One artist that I will say is my number one, may not be though. Run the Jewels is incredible running rap.
It's got run in the name.
I know. It's perfect. And then also like Kendrick Lamar and Kanye's obvious running-friendly tracks like Stronger, Better, Faster, Longer. I listen to Rihanna's Shine Bright Like a Diamond on repeat during runs because I'm trying to shine bright like a diamond.
I do not listen to music during runs. I listen to podcasts.
You listen to people talk in your ear during a... I wonder how many of our listeners run while listening to RBP. Like, who do you think anyone's running right now, and do we make them faster or slower?
Well, if we sing Beyonce, we'll make them faster.
Maybe it's when I talk, they go slower, and when you talk, they run faster. And this is just giving everybody heart palpitations.
Potentially.
Other headline. Eric Charles Mond, Austin auto magnate, hired hitmen to kill ex-girlfriend and her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, so I know Mond Toyota, very large Toyota dealership here in Austin.
In Central Texas, the Mond, M-A-U-N-D name, is associated with vehicular sales, not necessarily hitmen. Until now, from the Austin American-Statesman. This story is from where Jared and I live, in Austin, Texas, and it has literally, this is what they should be making a movie about on Netflix, getting Kevin James to star in, not Sean Payton and his brief foray into sixth grade coaching. So from the Austin American-Statesman, a prominent Austin businessman described by investigators as a partner in his family's Mond Auto Group has been indicted in the contract killings of his ex-girlfriend and her former boyfriend, federal prosecutors allege. According to investigators, Eric Charles Mond hired an Austin security specialist and two other men, a purported member of the Israeli Defense Forces and a special operations U.S. Marine, to shoot the pair. The motive, investigators say, the former boyfriend called Mond, who is married, to extort him by threatening to expose an affair he had with the girlfriend. The price for silence was more than $750,000, $750,000 for the March 2020 hits. He paid $750,000, the federal indictment unsealed on this Monday says.
No, you're telling me.
Two people. $750K.
How much was the guy?
Didn't get away with it.
How much was the guy trying to extort? Because this guy was trying to extort.
I'm guessing millions. It had to have been.
I mean, yeah, it had to have been because if he's willing to spend. But here's the thing: you need to look at the cost
benefit analysis.
Yeah,
And not with extortion.
You're gonna spend $750K in order to save $3 million?
No, because it's like here's what they do with extortion. They come at you and they say, we're going to expose you for this unless you give us $3 million. And then you give them $3 million, and then 3 weeks later, they're like, all right, we spent the $3 million on smack. We need another $5 million. And you're like, God damn it. And it just keeps going, and eventually you're spending $750K plus to get these two whacked.
So it didn't matter. You're saying it didn't matter because in the end...
They're going to keep coming back and coming back. So you either, when you get blackmailed like this, there are two moves. Hire hitmen and then probably go to prison for the rest of your life. Or just fucking call it in. Hey, these two dipshits are trying to extort me out of X amount of money. Help?
So this guy...
He had an affair, okay? So let me get you the rest of it. The names of the deceased are Holly A. Williams, she was 33, and William L. Lanway, 36.
Wait.
33 and 36 years old.
The hitmen actually did kill them?
Yeah, they're dead. Very, very dead.
I feel like you never hear about the hitmen actually doing it.
Oh, yeah, they did the hit, bro. Full-blown hit happened.
What?
They're all the way gone. They were discovered March 2020 in a white 2005 Acura at a Nashville, Tennessee construction site. Like, it's full Sopranos, except in Nashville. At a construction site, their bodies. Representatives for the Mond Automotive Group did not immediately have a comment this week. It was unclear whether Mond remained part of the company. His grandfather started the Central Texas automotive chain, which includes Volkswagen and Toyota dealerships. Attorneys Perry Minton and Sam Bassett represent Mond and said in a statement on Monday, quote, "We have spoken to Mr. Mond only briefly on the matter. We will understand more in the coming days and weeks. The entire Mond family loves and supports their son."
That's not what you put out.
Briefly on the matter, y'all should have spoken pretty extensively. He's being accused of hiring a hitman to murder two people.
And you don't end it with "we love and support him." Hey, we don't really know what's going on, but we trust him.
What if you're part of the Mond family and you're like, hold on, I never loved and supported him even before this? Can you just throw that blanket statement out there?
Now I'm wondering, like, is this a good time for me to go to a Mond dealership and get a car?
Probably.
You got to think this is hurting their
prices have to be driven down by this, I would think.
Yeah.
Who's hitting a Mond Toyota lot today? Honey, let's go shop at the Mond lot.
You might be inside that Mond Toyota at a construction site dead.
By the end of the shopping experience, yeah. According to the indictment, Mond traveled frequently to Nashville to see what FBI agents described as a family member. In February of 2020, he emailed Williams, the deceased woman, to alert her he would be in Nashville again and wanted to see her. While staying at a downtown hotel, he texted her February 5th from a phone linked to his company. Idiot. Quote, "Good morning, beautiful. Looking forward to later today. I am in Nashville. I will meet you in a bar like last time. Text me when you arrive," according to the indictment. And Mond traveled frequently to Nashville. Here we are. Investigators said that this weekend, police in Austin pulled over Mond this past weekend during a traffic stop and arrested him for the killings. So did they wait till he was out driving around and then happened to pull him over because he rolled a stop sign? Or were they out we got to get this dude once he's in his car? Don't you just...
It would have been kind of cool if we got one of those high-speed chases that they get in L.A. every day.
We used to have them in Houston once a month, and they'd be on all the TVs and shit.
Honestly, do you know why we don't have those in Austin? Too much traffic.
There's nowhere to run. There's no highways to help. Yeah. What are you going to do, hit 35 or Mopac?
Going to get backed up a quarter mile in.
Yeah, there's no white Bronco scene to be had here in Austin, Texas, unfortunately. So this dude... The hitmen got apprehended at the airport, one in the Austin Bergstrom International Airport, which would have been tight to see as well, and then one in San Diego and one in North Carolina. But they pulled these hits off, did the hits, killed these two people. The FBI tracked and fucking uncovered the entire thing, and that's that.
So who gets a longer sentence, the people who did the killing or the person who paid for it?
I think the person who paid for it, orchestrated the entire thing, is going to get the longest sentence, but those dudes are going to get popped for sure, especially being ex-military and shit.
So this guy, he decided.
He had an affair first.
Yeah, he had an affair, and then instead of letting this affair ruin his marriage, potentially, maybe his wife would have forgave him. You have no idea. Probably not, because this guy seems like a total asshole.
Right.
The affair, if he came out about it, his marriage
he had to
is
have been
ruined.
weighing losing half his money in the divorce. That has to have been it.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can think of because it's like, okay, he gets divorced, he's still rich, and now he can go bang as many women as he wants without or with impunity.
Clearly already unhappy. Clearly the marriage has some type of issue if you're, repeatedly cheating in Nashville hotels.
He just went from being able to have as much sex as he wants with his money to now as much sex as he doesn't want in jail.
In the prison.
Uh-huh.
It's not the zone you want to go to at all.
The bone zone.
Anyway, rough story, lives lost, weird shit, Austin, auto magnates, and murders.
We don't get stories like this a lot here in Austin.
Not too often. It's usually like, when we have crimes, they're super depressing. This is the first one in a long time that I've seen and been like, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, remember we had, it's still depressing, but like the murder wasn't in Austin, so I feel kind of removed from it.
Right.
My least favorite story since I've lived here was the essentially the second coming of the Unabomber that we had here for about 3 months.
God, that was hell.
I literally, so if people don't remember this is like 2017.
Yeah.
And we had this kid, like literally a kid, I think he was like 22, was making these mail bombs and sending them through the mail, or maybe sometimes putting them on people's...
Just dropping them off places and shit.
I think he was doing almost all of them through UPS.
Like, nobody was checking their packages for like a fucking 2-week period.
No, I literally, if I lived in an apartment complex, I would walk around like 10 feet around any package I saw, because it was literally at a point where three or four or five people were killed or severely injured because a freaking Unabomber-style package exploded.
Yeah, it was a real dick move.
And then the kid, this actually ended in a car chase, and he pulled over to the side of the highway and then blew himself up in his car and killed himself.
See? Depressing.
They should make a movie about that, though. Call it Unabomber 2, Return of the Bomb.
I don't want to watch that. It sounds fucking terrible. Make the Kevin James movie instead.
No, let's make Kevin James Unabomber 2.
You want him to play the Unabomber 2?
Yes.
Return of the Bomb.
Wait, Tuna
This is
Bomber.
what we drive to Netflix and pitch right now, Jared.
Is it Tuna Bomber? And
yes.
And then does he eat a lot of tuna?
Also, yeah, triple entendre. I love that. Fucking A.
The Tuna Bomber.
See? I've been trying to tell you, man. We got movie ideas.
The
Netflix.
reason he keeps doing the bombings is because he hates how the media refers to him as the Tuna Bomber.
Right. So he's just
It's
enraged.
Unabomber 2!
He's enraged. I'm Unabomber 2.0, not the Tuna Bomber. Good stuff. Today's episode is also brought to you by Felix Gray Glasses. Felix Gray, they keep your eyes safe from screens with the finest frames my fingers have ever felt. Just phenomenal eyewear, the best in the world in my opinion. Jared, you know I like the finer things, and what glasses do I choose to protect my eyes as I fight children in video games and watch movies every night?
That's going to be Felix Gray Glasses.
That's correct, sir. The Faraday frames, I've got the Nash frames, I've got the West frames as well. They're my current favorite frame, the West, but all three of those are phenomenal. Everything from Felix Gray is so nice. Every time I wear them, I get people asking me what brand my glasses are. 5 years ago, Felix Gray realized our eyes were not meant to look at screens all day, and they designed glasses to make daily screen time more comfortable and the workday more productive. Screens, J-Bone, we cannot live without them, but they're burning our fucking eyes out day by day, hour by hour, minute by minute, and that's where Felix Gray steps in and saves all of our fucking lives. There are a lot of blue light glasses on the market, but to lump them all together would be like lumping Jared's car in with my Tesla.
Don't come out my Nissan Sentra SL like that.
I apologize. Felix Grays are the only way to go, though. Get yourself a pair of glasses made for the 21st century and designed for modern, hardworking eyes. You have nothing to lose except maybe eye strain. Go to felixgrayglasses.com/RBP for the best blue light glasses on the market today. That's FELIXGRAY glasses.com/RBP for free shipping, free returns, and free exchanges, baby. FelixGrayGlasses.com/RBP.
Grab your light, this is Stop the Wikipedia when you're high.
Stop the Wikipedia when you're high.
God, I suck at fake guitar. Or what is that? What instrument is that?
It's a sitar.
Damn.
It's an Indian instrument.
You got one of those yet?
No.
Maybe that's what I get you for Christmas.
Fun fact, you know Nora Jones, the famous
Of
singer?
course, yeah, sure.
I waited till I saw that one?
Yeah, no, but yeah.
Her dad is a famous sitar player.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know you could get famous for playing the sitar. Like, is there like a famous harp player?
Probably.
I know the harmonica can get you famous.
One of the Angels played the harp, right?
The sax, too. One of the Angels? Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Who's your favorite sax player? Mine's Bill Clinton.
Yeah, mine was Bill Clinton until I watched that Monica Lewinsky show on the television, and it turns out he's not that great of a dude.
Well, he was just trying to hide his cigar.
That's what I heard. Who's the best sax player in the world? Isn't it Kenny G?
Yeah, I think a lot of people would say Kenny G. Bill Simmons just made a documentary about Kenny G.
Fuck
apparently.
Bill Simmons, dude.
I know.
I hate that guy. Seriously, if Bill Simmons wants to come on the show, I would love to talk to him about how much he sucks. Bill, open invitation.
I want to
Sit down in here with me and Jared, and I'll awkwardly ask you questions about how much you suck.
We'll give you some soup for your trouble.
John Coltrane, a great saxophonist. I don't see anybody recent on this list.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, all the great sax players. The sax gets no respect anymore, man. Lisa Simpson, all-time great sax player.
Oh yeah.
I was watching all the Simpsons Christmas specials earlier. God damn, that show is old.
You were watching the you were watching season 1.
Like from the fucking 90s or 80s. Yeah, it was crazy.
It's not good.
It does not age that well if you go back to the OG Simpsons episodes. But that's not our stuff to Wikipedia when you're high today. You wanna know what it is? Bone Wars. You like that, J-Bone?
J-Bone.
You're a big bone guy, aren't you?
I'm the bone man.
Yeah, you like bones. The Bone Wars, this is one of the... All right, first of all, a listener sent us this.
Shouts to Gabe.
Shouts to Gabe. One of my favorites in a while. All right, usually I don't like to do stuff to Wikipedias when you're high in back-to-back episodes anymore, or at least not in the same week. But today, I couldn't be helped because the Bone Wars, also known as the Great Dinosaur Rush, was a period of intense and ruthlessly competitive fossil hunting and discovery during the Gilded Age of American history, marked by a heated rivalry between Edward Drinker Cope of the Academy of Natural Sciences of Philadelphia, and then Othniel, all-time terrible name, Othniel, Othniel Charles Marsh.
Othniel sounds close to Othniel, which would be like the name of one of the handmaids in A Handmaid's Tale.
Right? Of the Peabody Museum of Natural History at Yale is Othniel.
They used to call me Peabody.
Each of the two paleontologists used underhanded methods to try to outdo the other in the field, resorting to bribery, theft, and the destruction of bones. You don't like that, do you, J-Bone? They were destructing them.
They're destroying bones?
Each scientist also sought to ruin his rival's reputation and cut off his funding using attacks in scientific publications. These guys fucking hated each other, and all they wanted to do was get at bones, but keep the other one from also getting at bones. They're bone collectors. You seen that movie?
No.
Denzel Washington, Angelina Jolie. You think they were fucking those bones, J-Bone?
If you collect it, you fuck it.
That's true. You know what they say. So these two idiots' search for fossils led them to led them west to rich bone beds in Colorado, Nebraska, and Wyoming. So from 1877 to 1892, this is way back, both paleontologists used their wealth and influence to finance their own expeditions and to procure services and dinosaur bones from fossil hunters. So it's just it's a space race, but for dino bones.
That's like the opposite of the space
Yeah,
race.
downward into the ground instead of up into the sky.
Wait, how come, speaking of the space race,
Yeah.
we had a space race. Who's the first to the moon? It turns out it was us, maybe. Who knows? How come there's not been a molten core of the Earth race? Let's see who can reach the Earth's molten core first.
China already did it.
Well,
And Dr. Evil.
Are you saying because of that thing where it's like,
If you dig far enough, you'd go to China?
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what.
you think they dug that hole first?
Yeah.
You think they said like, oh, if you dig this hole, you'll go to the United States.
The Chinese can pop up anywhere they want here. You don't realize that, but like there's just a giant ocean of Chinese living under the United States, and they can just pop up anytime they want because they built that tunnel.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like Parasite, the movie, except with a whole country.
That's fucking crazy.
Wild as hell. So, Cope and Marsh, let's get back to that. By the end of the Bone Wars, both men had exhausted their funds in the pursuit of paleontological supremacy. That's not the supremacy I've heard many people go after. Paleontological.
Mm-hmm. That's what Ross was in Friends. He was a paleontologist.
That's true, he was. Fucking Geller. Cope and Marsh were financially and socially ruined by their attempts to outcompete and disgrace each other, but they made important contributions to science and the field of paleontology and provided substantial material for further work. Both scientists left behind many unopened boxes of fossils after their deaths. Now that is a party. You know how people open up like packs of baseball cards? Like, ooh, let's see which one we get. These dudes left behind boxes of unopened dinosaur fossils? How do we get at those? Fuck NFTs. I want to buy one of these boxes of dinosaur bones and open it live on the show.
Do you think it's like Storage Wars where like people, they open up the box, you can kind of see what's at the top, they're like, all right, and there's that one guy's like, yep. I got 400, I got 400. Yep.
Yep.
And sold. oh man, I got a fucking dead body.
Velociraptor. There's a Velociraptor claw in here. Or like if you miss, it's like some what's a bitch ass dinosaur? Like what's your least favorite dinosaur? I feel like
The chicken.
Does that count?
I think so.
It's just chicken bones in that one. Yep.
Yep. Oh man, I hit the mother load. I got Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah. The efforts of the two men led to more than 136 new species of dinosaurs being discovered and described, which is obviously hilarious that this bitter rivalry between these two guys led to 136 different species of dinosaur. The products of the Bone Wars resulted in an increase in knowledge of prehistoric life and sparked the public's interest in dinosaurs, leading to continued fossil excavation in North America in the decades to follow. So you could even argue that these two idiots were like the grandfathers of dinosaur discovery in the United States, which is bonkers. Many historical books and fictional adaptations have been published about this period of intense fossil hunting activity, and again, I would argue we have a much better movie in the making here than with Kevin James's home team, Netflix WTF Mate. Who owns the rights to this? This is a story.
Do these men exist in the same universe as the tuna bomber?
I hope. One can only hope. The tuna bomber makes an appearance in this film.
Maybe it would have to be the tuna bomber's like great-great-grandpa, right? What years are we talking here?
This is 1877 to 1892.
Okay. So
We'll get a time machine in the mix for the movie.
So this is like right after the Civil War then, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I do know how to answer that affirmatively. Yes. Sort of right out, within the 10 years after.
Do you think they were just like so upset about Abraham Lincoln's death that they set out west to find bones?
Perhaps. While they were in the American West dueling for fossils, they also tried their best to ruin each other's professional credibility. One of them made an error reconstructing the Plesiosaur elasmosaurus, and Cope tried to cover up his mistake. He's the one who made the mistake by purchasing every copy he could find of a journal which Marsh had published this mistake in. Okay, Marsh, meanwhile, made sure to publicize the story even further. Cope's own rapid and prodigious output of scientific papers meant that Marsh had no difficulty in finding occasional errors with which to lambast Cope. Marsh himself was not infallible. He once put the wrong skull on a skeleton of Apatosaurus and declared it a new genus. Get this, Brontosaurus. The reason you and I, as children, believed that Brontosaurus was an all-time goat dino was this fuckstick putting the wrong skull on an Apatosaurus.
So the Brontosaurus never existed?
I don't think I remember at one point they took away a planet. They were like, Pluto, sorry, you're just a star. And at some point they were like, Brontosaurus, actually, Marsh was drunk and stuck the skull on the wrong dinosaur.
I believe Pluto was demoted to dwarf planet, not star, which would be a massive, massive promotion.
Shine bright like a diamond. Wait, you think star is better than dwarf planet?
Yeah, stars are... The sun is
saying a lot about what you think about dwarves, Jared.
Solar systems rotate around stars.
You're a racist. Judging by pure numbers, Marsh won the Bone Wars, so there was a winner. Both scientists made finds of immense scientific value, but while Cope discovered a total of 56 new dinosaurs, Marsh discovered 80. This is like the Lewis and Hamilton of dino bone hunting.
Lewis and Hamilton?
What's the other guy's name?
Max?
Lewis Hamilton is one person. The Max and Lewis.
I thought you meant Lewis and Clark
The
at first.
Verstappen and Hamilton
Yes.
of dinosaur hunting. Also, Michael Crichton? Why the fuck is his name spelled that way?
I hate that.
He wrote a novel called Dragon Teeth, published posthumously in 2017. Hold on, Michael Crichton is dead?
Oh, yeah.
Holy shit. It addresses the Bone Wars through the experiences of a fictional character, William Johnson. You try very hard there, Bill Johnson, who becomes an apprentice to both Marsh and Cope and makes his own historic discovery. Okay, this has got to be a movie, right? They bought the rights to this book.
Well, I mean, Michael Crichton notably made many famous films.
Many.
Jurassic Park.
Well, he made many famous books that were turned into films.
Yes. Westworld, another one.
He wrote Westworld?
Oh, yeah.
You're fucking with me.
Michael Crichton wrote Jurassic Park and Westworld.
Oh, man, somebody's collecting stupid money.
I know, and that person is still not having their last name pronounced correctly because it's probably still Crichton.
You got to change that.
You do. By the way, if you like Westworld, Ross and I have a Westworld podcast called Freeze on Motor Functions, #1 rated Westworld podcast on Apple Podcasts. You watch through the series, listen to us break down every single episode.
We got a podcast for each episode of Westworld. If you're just like, fuck it, I need another show.
Yep.
Westworld season 1 is one of the best seasons of television I've ever seen.
The best, in my opinion. And every episode
That's blasphemous.
that we break down is spoiler free. If you've never seen
True.
Westworld, if you're rewatching, you're still gonna love it. It's very funny. Some of the funniest stuff Ross and I have done.
That is correct.
Freeze on motor function.
Freeze all motor functions, baby. Anyway, that's our stuff to Wikipedia when you're high for today. The Bone Wars. And
J-Bound.
I mean, we've hit like 3 good movie ideas here since covering one of the worst ever in our opening segment, which is just wild. Today's episode is also brought to you by Birddogs, making the most comfortable shorts in the world with the built-in underwear you know and love for living life and making love. It's like, why wear shorts with underwear when you can wear even better shorts with built-in underwear, thus creating less laundry, thus saving the planet, thus making you a hero who is also better looking and more comfortable. Birddogs, you silly bastard, but did you know they make pants as well for these winter months? I've been wearing them all week, so I don't have them on today, but I'm holding them up for you so you can see them. The Birddogs joggers are beautiful. They're comfortable. They're for play. They're for work. They're for golf. They're for sleep. They're also for sex. They're new joggers, next level comfortable. Check them out. Birddogs joggers on birddogs.com. Grab yourself a pair. Love mine. Love their shorts. Get the underwear built in. Get it not built in if you're not a rebel.
Do you know what they call me, by
What
the
do
way?
they call you?
I wear Birddogs joggers so much, they call me Yarmir Jogger.
Wow. Who's they in that sentence?
Bunch of
The media?
bunch of hot women.
The right-wing media? What's more, for being an RBP listener, when you use the code RBP at checkout on birddogs.com, Birddogs is giving away free whistling footballs like the Nerf football you grew up with, but a Birddogs whistling football. This holiday season, Birddogs giving the gift of whistling football with every order. Go to birddogs.com, use the code RBP, support the podcast, and get your free whistling football today. Now, Jared, I used to do a segment on this show way back when producer Micah and I did the show together, where I would make him read the lyrics to rap songs that I thoroughly enjoyed, because you remember Micah, he had a very radio-y white guy voice.
Yeah, and he also put his entire mouth like all the way onto the mic.
Yeah, he just throated it while he read the lyrics, and which is like what I expect you to do today. But it occurred to me the other day, as somebody, it gets brought up pretty periodically. Y'all should do more rap lyrics or do more rap songs or talk more about rap. And I'm like, I talk a great deal about rap. But then it occurred to me, Jared, admitted non-hip-hop enthusiast who yells out artists like Yo Gotti for no reason, would be a phenomenal person to have read the lyrics to rap songs, because frankly, you're white as fuck too, just like me. But it's no fun if I read them myself, right? So
okay, I guess not.
today I have selected Wu-Tang's 1994 hit C.R.E.A.M, because it just has enough of it's just every line is something you would never say in your entire life, which makes it beautiful to me. So I wanted to have you just read the first verse here for everyone today, to shine some more positivity into what has been just a spectacular show so far.
I can do that. What's funny is I go for walks in your neighborhood all the time, and somebody in your neighborhood has a license plate that says like Wu-Tang Forever. Not kidding.
Really?
Yeah.
There are a few really weird vanity plates in this hood, but I haven't seen the Wu-Tang one yet.
What I want to know is this. All I know about Wu-Tang Clan is that they're for the children or for the kids?
Yeah, for the kids.
Okay, that's all I know.
I don't know that much, apparently. Okay, I'll bring this up before you start your lyric reading. We talked about Bing Bong last week.
Yep.
We talked about the origins of Bing Bong. We looked into it pretty deeply. We got into, what was it, Street Talk, the show where it kind of became this famous thing.
Side talk, yeah.
Side Talk, thank you, Jared. And we have heard nonstop from Wu-Tang fans being like, ODB invented Bing Bong, you stupid bastard. And I'm like, okay, fuck, dude, chill out. Nobody said that. It wasn't anywhere. I don't know how you pulled that, but there are at least 3 or 4 different people being argued for in the comment section of our Bing Bong videos on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter, saying, oh, this person invented Bing Bong, or this person invented Bing Bong. There is a fucking all-out fight right now, Bone Wars style, for who should get credit for the invention or the catchphrase Bing Bong. And Wu-Tang is one of the people being argued for it, but it was comprised of RZA, Jizza, Old Dirty Bastard, Method Man, Raekwon, Ghostface Killah, Inspector Deck, You God, and Master Killer. I didn't realize they had 9 fucking guys.
Wu-Tang is 9 guys?
No wonder Wu-Tang rolled so deep. The fuck were you supposed to do when 9 dudes roll up spitting bars at you at the same time? And their names are RZA, Jizza, Old Dirty Bastard, Method Man, Raekwon, Ghostface Killer, Inspector Deck, You God, and Master Killer. And where's the Wu-Tang movie?
My favorite guy is Jizza.
Jizza. This dude named himself GZA. Straight up.
Jizza. I'm gonna say something right now that sounds like I'm trying to duck this segment.
Okay.
My phone's actually dead. If you want to hand me your laptop.
How is your fucking phone
I don't know.
dead?
Look, it's dead.
Here, see if you can reach this. Look at us. Oh, God, we're pros. Reaching across the studio to each other. Many of you listening that have never watched our videos may not know this, but Jared and I actually sit about 4 feet from each other in the studio in our. We didn't even have to move from our chairs to make that handoff happen.
We didn't.
All right, you ready?
I'm going to start
This is C.R.E.A.M. from 1994. Hit it.
And again, I don't know how the song goes. I'm just going to read it how I...
Hey, don't say the N-word.
Okay, I won't.
I don't think there's one in there. I checked.
I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no jive.
No jive.
Had second hands. Moms bounced on old man. So then we moved to Shaolin Land. A young youth, yo, rocking the gold tooth. Low goose. Only way I begin the G off was drug loot.
That's right.
And let's start it like this, son. Rolling with this one and that one, pulling out gats for fun. But it was just a dream for the teen, who was a fiend. Started smoking woolies at 16.
Fuck yeah.
What's a woolie?
I don't know.
And running up in gates and doing hits for high stakes. Making my way on fire escapes. No question, I would speed for cracks and weed. The combination made my eyes bleed.
What?
No question, I would flow off and try to get the dough all, sticking up white boys in ball courts.
Damn.
My life got no better. Same damn low sweater. Times is rough and tough like leather. Figured out I went the wrong route or route.
I think route here, because you're going to go out next line.
Well, I'm going to go route. Figured out I went the wrong route. So I got with a sick-ass click and went all out.
Canadian.
Catching keys from cross seas. Rolling an MPV. What's that?
I have no fucking
Rolling an MPVs. Every week we made 40 G's.
Damn.
Yo, player, respect mine or here. Go to Tech 9.
Chick pow.
Chick pow. Move from the gate now. Cash rules everything around me. Cream. Get the money. Dollar bill, y'all. Cash rules everything around me. Cream.
Get the money.
Dollar bill, y'all.
Thank you, Jared. That was beautiful.
Or freeze on motor functions. Data rule everything around me. Dream. Get the data. Data.
Dreams,
Bill
y'all.
Gates. Bill Gates, y'all.
Absolutely crushed it. Thank you for humoring me, Jared. In other news, you can just set that laptop down wherever you want. Rick Ross dropped a new album called Richer Than I've Ever Been. And I'm one listen through, and I support the Rick because he's considered a Ross by many Rosses. But this is mid so far. This is there's a couple of bops, but mostly mid is what it is. Like, he just, this guy's been in the game. He's been at it. Every day I'm hustling. That came out 15 years ago, dude. 15 years ago, Rick Ross's big ass dropped Every Day I'm Hustling.
Well, maybe he hasn't done that much because, as he has said, he's Larry Hoover, who is in jail. So maybe in his head, he's in a prison of his own creation.
Holy shit, I don't think anybody's ever considered this, but we need to get him a psychiatrist immediately, or a therapist. We've got some sponsors that can help with this. 15 years, though. I wonder if the youngins, the Zoomers, Gen Z, whatever, even know who the fat boy who needs a 10-piece is. He loves Wingstop, Rick. Does anybody call him Rick? What's up, Rick?
Rick and Morty.
Fucking Soulja Boy. I watched some Rick and Morty recently, some of the episodes I haven't seen yet. Those dudes are geniuses. They're also sick, the writers, but that's one of the smartest group of people to ever get into a room together and write a show, any kind of show, cartoon or otherwise. But when I watch the behind the in the writers' room shit, or whenever they explain how they came up with the concept for each episode, which they do often, every time they explain how they came up with one, I'm like, y'all motherfuckers need a vacation and a therapist and maybe an ayahuasca trip in the jungle. These dudes are more pessimistic and what is it called in The Big Lebowski? Those dudes who believe in nothing.
Nihilists.
We are nihilists, Lebowski. We believe in nothing. That's the writers of Rick and Morty, bro. They've just got a marmot that they throw in your bathtub. Freaks me out.
A marmot?
They throw a marmot in Jeffrey Lebowski's bathtub when he's smoking a joint, the nihilists. That's how they roll. I don't know why exactly.
We've talked about Jeff Bridges quite a bit on this podcast.
I really, really, really like Jeff Bridges. Crazy Heart, where he plays the country singer in that one movie, is one of my favorite movies ever made.
Uh-huh.
I also probably can't watch it for another 5 years.
You know what's crazy? True Grit, great Jeff Bridges film. The
John Wayne remake,
the girl
noted racist.
the girl who he is like escorting or whatever is Haley Steinfeld, who's a A-list celebrity now.
Dude, I love when this shit happens, when there's like somebody, I'll go back and watch a random movie and find somebody that grew up to become one of the most famous actors or actresses. Like that Leonardo DiCaprio movie, What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
Who is Gilbert Grape?
I don't really know. I don't remember.
Is it one of those really cool raisins with sunglasses on from the Sunmade box?
Yes, that's what. That's this. And he's played by Kevin James, not Leonardo DiCaprio. I was mistaken. That's my fault.
Honestly, like if you're gonna have somebody play a grape, I'd pick Kevin James over Grimace, even though Grimace is purple and fatter. I think Kevin James is just a better grape than Grimace.
He's a better Grimace than Grimace too. Kevin James. Jared and I will be back on Friday on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast, where we are every Friday with an ad-free episode for those who support our show, keep us showing and growing, and support Bolen Media, our business, by pledging a minimum of $5 monthly on Patreon, patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. Our Friday episodes are typically a little more unhinged. They've got no ads in them, so you're getting more content, and we have a blast. It's a more intimate audience. There's like 1,100 people on there on Patreon. Come through, support the show. We're desperately trying to climb towards 2,000 people to close out 2021. We need more supporters on Patreon so we can continue to grow our company, get more manpower and woman power in-house to do the things we're trying to do as we move through to 2022. So we appreciate each and every one of you who supports us on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast. And to say thank you to those of you who are there on Patreon, we have provided you with a 10% off code for the new Bolen Media merch available at bolenmedia.com/shop, where you'll see a bevy of new designs. As one of my favorites, my personal favorites, is the red Formula Bone t-shirt. It's phenomenal. Nice. We've got some great new RBP stuff. Go to bolenmedia.com/shop today. And if you're already on our Patreon, make sure you check Patreon first to grab that 10% off code. If you're not on our Patreon, make sure you join patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast, because as Jared and I pointed out earlier this week, technically, if you go to Ross Bolen Podcast or to patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast and sign up now, support us for $5 minimum per month and get that 10% off code. Then go spend an amount that puts you over the line where 10% would be more than the amount you spend on Patreon, and you're actually reversing out and somehow coming up doubly a winner.
Yeah, it's gonna probably ruin our bottom line and tank the company,
But it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
We're just about getting people on patreon.com/Ross Bolen Podcast here. That's what we do. There's also a new episode of the Formula Bone F1 podcast, F1 show, excuse me.
Yes, it's a show.
Out now. At Formula Bone on TikTok, at Formula Bone on Twitter, at Formula Bone on Instagram. Follow Jared's F1 show everywhere. He has done an incredible job launching this brand. Season just ended, one of the more controversial ends to a season in the history of F1, and Jared has covered the shit out of it all over social and on his podcast. Make sure you listen to Formula Bone F1 show today and follow at Formula Bone everywhere. We just covered the Succession Season 3 finale on Oysters, Clams, and Cockles, our TV and film podcast, so make sure you go follow OCC, listen to Oysters, Clams, and Cockles wherever you listen to RBP. For Barrett Dudley and I, one of my best friends of 20 years, reviewing, recapping, and discussing Succession's mind-blowing Season 3 finale. I've also got a Houston sports podcast called Banging the Can, where I basically just trash the Texans and talk about how fucked we are every week and beg the owner to sell the team. What else are we doing here? We got all kinds of good stuff. Follow at the Ross Bolen Podcast on Instagram, at the Ross Bolen Podcast on TikTok, at Ross Bolen Pod on Twitter. Follow me at WRBOLEN on Twitter, at WRBolen on Instagram. Follow Jared at Jared Borislow on Twitter and Instagram. And we will be back Friday. Thank you and good night.